Yeah, buddy. Happy Saturday. I think it's Saturday. Yeah, pretty sure it's Saturday. I got some Harley Davidson on. All right, let's talk tile deck layout. I did some work last night. I finished up my my runs, insulated with that Frost King, and yeah, I mean, maybe I got some extra R value, but it's not pretty. Over here, I did have to cut off some waste because it was just getting too much, and I didn't want it. It was getting in my way actually over here. So tested it last night, and here's the bucket full of water. I filled it pretty quick. No leaks. Knock on wood. Somewhere around here, but let me pull you out. So I cleaned up a little bit. All right, just a little bit. Cleaned up, and I'm doing tile layout. And with the principle of hiding my cuts and making it easy, that's what I'm going to try to do. So what I'm planning on doing is, since this is kind of asymmetrical back here, but my Roman faucet is lined up with my center of the tub, I'm going to come off the corners with full tile, and that'll be a cut, and that'll be a cut with factory, and the cut will be probably meeting up against another cut. Well, maybe I can turn that around. Well, we'll see. I might put the cut above and then the factory covering my cut for that tile, if you follow me. So you always want to, and I've said this before, and I'll say it probably again, you always want to hide your cuts, or if you can't hide them, make them to where they're not going to be like sticking out. For instance, down here, I'm gonna do factory, and that'll be a cut against the factory. That'll be a cut right there. Same with this side. This will be factory, and that'll be a cut against that factory. Up here will be something a little bit different because I really don't have a choice. I'm gonna have to start in the corners to match up. I'm gonna have to do this best I can. Because if I were to start in the center and work out, I'd have two cuts. I'd have a cut and a cut on either end. So I'm thinking about just making it, this might change. So I might actually start from the beginning, because the tile is going to be, it's going to be that much, right? Which is not so bad. This is a broken one. But let's just say, let me get a better shot at it here. Hold on. Yeah, here it is. So that wouldn't be, I don't know, 3 inches or so. But so it's subject to change. So, and I put I attached my front support, which I'm going to have to do some work on too, but that's all right. This is just tile layout. And I think I'm onto something. They're going to be all right. I had to put some tape over there because it's so narrow. The deck right here, it's so narrow, I didn't want the tile to fall off. So, that's why that's there. So that's what it's going to probably pretty much look like. Yeah, like I said, last night I pressure tested and everything was fine. My handheld is fine. It doesn't stick on anything. That's one long hose, man. I don't know. I could probably stretch that over to the shower, right? I know. So I'm happy with it. So next thing is, I don't think I'm going to pre-cut. I think I'm going to, because now that I know I'm starting my corners, I'm going to work on the back. So I'll do the backs, and then I'll cut. I'll get the back all situated, and then I'll work on the sides and get that all situated, and then I'll finish with the front. But I don't know what I'm going to do with the front just yet. Let's see how that would look. Now what I'm looking at, let me push you in. What I'm looking at is if I start from the center and move out, right? I don't know if that's going to be an issue or not. From here, it doesn't look so bad, but that might change. So if it changes, what I might do is drop my center line and measure center to my tile, and that's going to be the first tile, and I'll just work away from the center. You know, you've seen me do that before. That's, you know, one of a couple ways to set tile, right? You know, there's not too many ways you can start with layout. So you either start like what I'm doing here, or you start from the center and move out. I can't imagine there's too many other things you can do with tile as far as layout. So if I do that, that'll give me let's see what I'm going to be doing. That's going to cut. That'll give me a cut on this edge, and it'll give me a cut on this edge. This edge was already going to have a cut, so actually I'll be adding a cut just to center the front tile. So that might be the way I do it. So hold on one sec. All right, and you might have noticed I'm using two different lengths of tile, and which means there's a possibility of two different die lots, because they're definitely two different, you know, they're out of two different boxes, two different lengths, and actually, yeah, the width is different too. So I can't see any noticeable difference. I bought a bunch of this, so I'm thinking about I might have a bunch of this stuff left over. I mean, I bought a whole box of one of them. I forget which one it was. I don't know if it was the shorter, wider, or the little bit thinner, longer. So I'm going to see when it comes to tiling the ceiling and the shower. I might, instead of doing the little wavy subways, I might do, just to get rid of it, I might put this tile up there in a stagger, right? Obviously, because it's going to be a 50-50 stagger in there. As far as I know right now. So the only thing that might possibly change is when I figured layout, I didn't figure layout to come all the way out, and I'm thinking that I want to match this wall here, the short wall, and that wall. So I might bring it all out, which would mean I'm going to start from the center and move out. So I don't know how that's going to affect everything. That's for a different day. All right, so you're updated. This is tile layout, deck tile layout, and it's pretty much the way it's going to look. It's 16ths. These things are 16ths of an inch. These little guys, they're 16ths. All right. I think somewhere along the line I was saying 8s. You know, you catch things like that, right? It's like, because you're in the middle of it, you're like, the first thing comes to your mind, it's like, oh yeah, 8s, but no, these are 16. So, that's that. It's going to look nice. Now remember, I'm going to be moving the tub in, not dropping it in, so that I'm going to be pulling this back off. And I don't know, I might tile this separate. This might be a separate thing, because it can be, right? Because I made it. That's how I figured in the beginning, is I made this a separate thing. I made this to go in after the tile was set in place. And remember, the tub's not going to be setting on the tile. You know, it might a little bit, but it's actually designed, as I said, to sit on the legs, which I moved out, and they're over here. All right, you get the idea. I'll leave you with that shot right there. This is deck tile layout. Hope you're having a good weekend. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. There's going to be more to come.